Hi guys, CodeTutor here and my name is Anil Deshpande.
In the previous video, we have observed that most of the times a developer will write functions with proper names and even the argument names. But I have seen cases where sometimes people write arguments like num1, num2 and num3. It becomes quite difficult for a new developer that is going to work on the same code base to understand what these terms actually are and what exactly they mean when they pass these arguments in the function invocation. And after spending some time, the developer might realize that num1, num2, num3 are nothing but principal, rate of interest, and a term to calculate the simple interest. One way of refactoring the code is you start renaming these num1, num2, and num3 to principal, rate of interest, and term. But this also forces the developer to get inside the function and change the code that is written inside the function. Here it is just a single line, it is perfectly fine to do this. But if it is a function which has a lot of number of lines of code and it is very complicated, it becomes really difficult to go through the lines of code and change the argument names and then the way they are used inside the function. That is where Swift comes up with a better option, that is in the function declaration. If you are not happy with the way the argument labels are named, you can create a aliases for them. So instead of calling it as number 1, you want to call it as principal, and instead of calling it as number 2, you want to call it as rate of interest, and instead of calling it as number 3, you want to call it as term. Now what happens is, while doing the function invocation, you can use these alias names, making it very easy for the person who is using this particular method to understand what arguments he is passing. And also for the person who is refactoring the code, he need not have to go inside the function and change all the values. It makes the person who is using the method also happy and the person who is trying to refactor the code also happy. This is a kind of a lifesaver when you are trying to refactor really complicated, improperly named arguments for a function. And this is something which you will not find in most of the other programming languages. And the way you create alias names for the arguments is you just define your new names behind the earlier argument names with a space. There is a space between alias argument and the actual argument. So far what we have seen is a function with a name and an argument set, and that function is returning a value. But what if you want to return multiple values from a function? This may sound very counterintuitive, but in Swift it is pretty much possible through a concept of tuple. We shall do that in the next video.
That brings us to the end of this particular video. Don't forget to like, comment, share the video and subscribe to the channel. Take care. Bye.